know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Looking to help your favorite Chiefs podcast? Well, we're trying to raise money to create merchandise for our online store, as well as be able to have more merch to do giveaways to all of our fans. To any of our YouTubers, if you see down below, you can show your support with the new Super Thanks option. Any amount will go a long way towards helping us launch our online store. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks to all of our followers for your continued support. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. I'm here with our guy, host, former tight end, Jason Dunn. JD, how you doing, buddy? You've been in Kansas City since the game last week. How are things?
Good, man. Good. You know, the thing is, came out here, got some business done, but it was a great trip. You know, some things I wanted to do, and I had a little time to kind of do it, but I still didn't get to get everywhere I wanted to go. Obviously, man, just, you know, being over here, being over there, whatnot. And so, you know, I wanted to kind of get the barbecue segment out in Kansas City. And so when I had gotten there and you know, set up, just didn't really have enough time to get everything rolling. Man, it was brutal getting into the stadium. And so we put a little thing, you know, like a little bit put together, and we'll probably put this out and share it maybe a little bit later on. But man, when I'm telling you that my guy came through with all the information as far as like doing things with the barbecue and the tailgating. Had a guy that was riding around in a car named Dan. Dan he did some really good stuff, and did an interview with Dan as well. So put him out there on Front Street a little bit. And while I kind of set up, Willie Lanier, the great Chief Willie Lanier, was walking by, and I was just like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. And so of course we, you know, greet each other, gave hugs and stuff. I said, Willie, I'm doing this segment for barbecuing, you know, with the Chiefs tailgating. And he was gracious enough to sit there and do a quick little interview. He was my first guy I interviewed. So, you know,
Great.
Yes. And then of course people was moving in and time for the game to start. But man, what I'm telling you, man, the amount of people out there that was out there for that game, it was crazy Thursday night. And so, of course, they had the whole prime time, the Amazon Prime doing it. So my boy Gonzalez is out there doing his thing with Richard Sherman and Fitzpatrick. And I can't think, what's the lady's name? What's her name?
Carissa Thompson.
Yeah. So they did a good job. I thought they did a wonderful job from what I've seen, and I was up there kind of watching them, and I knew they was nervous to do it, man, but they did a really good job for the game. So I think it's going to go well as far as Thursday night with them. But going back to the game in itself, man, like I said, man, was incredible. It was absolutely amazing. Just seeing it, and you know it was going to be a dogfight. Anytime you have a team like the Chargers that you know real well, you know they're going to come in and Arrowhead they start swinging, they're going to give you their best. That's what it's going to be. And so we seen that on Thursday night. We seen that the Chargers came in, and obviously they came in because they wanted to stop Patrick Mahomes because all the weapons they got on defense, that's what they wanted to do. And so it was a hard-fought game. But the Chiefs came out with that victory, and that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the Chiefs victory, and they got that. They got that dub, man. That's all that matters. Yep. All that matters. Wasn't necessarily pretty, but they got that dub.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get into the Chiefs and Chargers game. Before that, just a quick update. So starting Sunday after the Chiefs game, the Chief Concerns will be doing a new show. Essentially, it's going to be a show on the YouTube channel, and it'll also be posted on all of our platforms: Apple, Spotify, everywhere else we have podcasts. But directly after the game, we'll have a reaction show, a short little reaction show to talk about what just happened in the game, and hopefully this weekend, hopefully it's a win over the Colts. So yeah, we'll be doing a reaction show, and then everything will stay the same on Thursdays. We'll still have our normal preview for the upcoming game. So just adding another little nugget for you guys. I know everyone's been chiming in. Everyone always asks us after games are over. You guys DM us in our Twitter box and ask us about things we saw in the game. It's like, now we're going to give it to you right after the game. So yeah, so we're looking forward to doing that and interacting with you guys. And it'll be live too, so you guys can chat away at us as we do the show. And our guy Lance from the Spoken Podcast will be on to help us react to the game. So it'll be interesting to talk to Lance and do that for you guys.
That'd be good, man. Lance, coming out, that's our brother, man. And Lance was a guy, man, I wanted to catch up in Kansas City. I'm going to catch up with Lance next time I come out there, kind of give him a heads up so we can kind of plan like our time together so we can get together, because I still wanted to do the whole mac and cheese deal. Show me like the whole food with the mac and cheese. So Lance, he sees this, man. Hey, look, brother, I'm telling you, next time I had a whole lot of business. Next time Kansas City, we getting together. But I'm gonna love seeing you for the post game talks on the show, man. I couldn't think of anybody better to come out there and help us out other than Lance. So that's good.
Yeah, can't wait for that. And yeah, you guys can talk mac and cheese on the post game show this Sunday. But yeah, so that leads us in. JD had talked a little bit about the game on Thursday. So if you missed it, Chiefs beat the Chargers 27-24 and a comeback win on the first ever Thursday Night Football broadcast exclusively on Amazon Prime, as JD said with our guy TG. Second half efforts by our defense led us to a win, highlighted by rookie Mr. Jaylen Watson, 99-yard interception return for a touchdown. JD, you were there for this game, and I'm sure you heard the roars of that, but what were your thoughts on the entire game, offensively and defensively, of a game of two halves, really?
Yeah. First off, shout out to my man, Big Chief Sean, okay, for the tailgating thing. I get to mention his name, but Big Chief Sean, I sent him some of the stuff on Twitter, man, and Big Chief Sean, man, was awesome on some of the things he was doing. I was sitting over here trying to put all this stuff together, but yeah. So what did I think? You're saying just on give me the question again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what were your overall thoughts on the game of being a game of two halves, really?
Yeah.
And then the second half, kind of defense taking over in the second half.
Well, I tell you what, kind of what I saw was, we knew, like I said before, it was going to be a hard-fought game. And so you weren't going to be able to just shut down Justin Herbert and Mike Williams for what they do. Eckler did a pretty good job against him. But, the thing was, I knew at a certain point, man, the Chiefs offense was going to start cooking. I knew that after a while they'll start stalling, and then you start seeing guys, moving the ball, moving the chains down the field. And so that's what ended up happening. And so it was kind of frustrating. Obviously, we wanted to see a little bit more of that high-powered offense, kind of take over like we seen them in the first game against Arizona. But, when you have, like I said, a division opponent, these guys know you really well. So they're going to run, certain defensive schemes against, what you do. And they wanted to try to stop that. But I think, was times like the offense looked really good, just kind of moving the ball. And then it was like the stall out, right? It was like, oh, man, like, okay, didn't quite work with what we was thinking. And so that's the difficult part. But second half, hey, guess what? And I think I posted on Twitter, watch what they do. They're going to start cooking the second half, and that's exactly what Pat them did. They came back out there, put it all together. You know, CEH started looking really good, man, running the football. Patrick started getting the ball out of his hands a little bit earlier, you know, and so that was what I seen. The defense did a really good job too, just kind of coming after Herbert, man, putting some pressure on him and putting some hits on him. So that was very significant as far as like what they wanted to try to do it as far as disrupting his timing. But man, like putting those big hits, that slowed him down a ton, And so you've seen it. I mean, we're talking about just the ambiance of Arrowhead in itself and what it gives, and all the fans just shouting at him. That was, I think, the determining factor in the game, especially when you go into like an environment like that with the Chiefs. Man, it's tough. It's a tough place to come and play, you know, for their opponent. But that was pretty much kind of like just what I seen the tale of two halves was, you know, what did the offense do the first half against the second half, and what did the defense do the first half against on the second half as well? And so we've seen some of the big plays on defense on the second half. So that was it. That was key.
Yeah, the young guys really stepped up in that game. Watson, you know, coming in for McDuffie, you know, and doing that. I mean, what better way to kind of break yourself into the NFL by, you know, having a pick six in your first start?
Oh man, come on, pick six, not just pick six, 99 yards for that too, baby. Come on, that was incredible. Like, you know, like when you're taking off, you see the stadium, everybody's just like, yeah, like he's gone. And when you see he was in the wind, done, it was over. So yeah, man, that was a glorious play, a big time play. When you needed it from the defense, they made the plays to get them off the field.
And his story, I'm sure you heard, you know, he worked at Wendy's, you know, was going to go to USC. He didn't have the grace to get in from JUCO to get into USC. And then, you know, he was kind of, he didn't know what he was going to do. He started working at Wendy's. And then, you know, coach of Washington State really got on him and talked to him about, you know, getting his grades back in JUCO. And then, you know, he ended up going to Washington State, and look at us, game-changing play on his birthday weekend, nonetheless, in this past weekend. So it was great game. But you mentioned CEH, so that leads us to our next topic. So CEH, you know, he's gotten so much slander from Chief fans, not saying he was a bust. And we said all offseason, give him time, let him get touches, let him get acclimated to the system. You know, he had the whole offseason where he went to Texas with Pat, and he's looked amazing so far. He's really looked like the running back that we drafted him out of LSU, the guy who could catch the ball out of the backfield, make moves, make people miss. You know, blocking, and I think his pass blocking grade from the running backs I think leads the team. His pass blocking grade, I forgot what the percentage was on it, but I have to ask you. So far he's averaged 7.5 yards a carry, and I think he's only had like only had like 14 carries so far in the season by averaging 7.5 yards in those carries. And then 2 games he has 7 catches for 76 yards, and then the 2 touchdowns in the first game. What do you make of CEH's season so far? Do you feel there's a kind of a renewed confidence in him this year?
I do. I think, you know, he's running with a little bit of reckless abandonment. I think he has a little bit more balance than what he has we've seen in the past. Some of the off-season workouts that he's been doing, you could tell it's paying off, especially with him, guys bouncing off of him, and also too, him just hitting the hole and just, you know, being able to skirt out. And so that's a joy to see. That's an absolute joy to see. And so, like, yeah, some of the slander, of course, like, oh, well, he's a small guy, and, you know, he end up getting hurt. Well, to be honest with you, I like to see him get the ball a little bit more than what he's done. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you. So I think, you know, I've said he was one of those players that without a doubt wanted to come in and prove himself. And I think he's done it thus far. Now, at this moment, my question is, when he's going to get more opportunities to run the football, right? And I think he has wanted to at least to get some more touches, you know. And I think, man, look, we know, like I said before, I'll say this all the time, but the run opens up the pass, and he's been running effectively. I think we should give him the ball a little bit more than what we've been doing. The O-line's been doing a pretty decent job of blocking up front for him. The CEH, man, he's played, you know, spectacularly the last 2 games. He has.
Yeah, I mean, you got everyone's making a big deal about the Derwin James tackle on Travis Kelce, but CEH struck the heck out of Derwin James during that game. That was nice. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, man. Hey, they didn't want to talk about that one.
Mm-mm.
And so, hey, look, anytime a guy like that is going against one of your top guys and runs him over, shoot, you got to give him an attaboy.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked good. It looked good, man. I'll tell you what, man. It's impressive because I can tell he's just running with power.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, the offseason workout, whatever he's been doing, and seeing a little bit of glimpse of it, is working. It's working. So I think, man, he just continued to keep it up. I think with a guy like that, you try to give him at least 15 touches a game. I would. So I think the Chiefs need to kind of, at least lean on him a little bit more because I think he just gets better with more, touches that he's going to be able to get. Yep. And so he's basically stapled himself as, without a doubt, the number one runner here. I know, people was doubting because, you had the young whippersnapper coming up in Pacheco, right? Rojo gets here. And so everybody's challenged to get their first spot. But CEH is like, look, I am not going to relinquish a spot for anybody. Yeah. And he's shown that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jared McKinnon's taking pretty much all the red zone reps. Last thing on CEH, you got some people who don't really understand football were making fun of CEH online. That last run he had at the end of the game, they said, why is he holding the ball like this when he's already passed the line? I mean, he's securing the victory. Isn't he scored? We saw Nick Chubb score fast in the Jets-Browns game on Sunday, and what happened? They ended up losing that game. So, I mean, you do want to fumble the ball.
Yeah, look, that's intelligent football. That's a smart player. He understands, like, these guys are coming to rip the ball out of your heads. Mm. And so he's just doing what a smart player is going to do. Protect the football at all costs, right? You protect the victory. Now, I might have said get a few more yards before you go down like you did. Yeah. But, hey, that's me. But him coming in running with the ball with two hands, high and tight, baby. That's how you do it, high and tight. And when I see him running like that, I'm like, oh, yeah, he knows exactly, the awareness, exactly where he is. So, yeah, man, no, hats off to him, man. Like things like that. You can see that's growth. Yeah. With a runner, you're seeing a guy who's thinking about and the awareness about what it is. That's being in that position during that time. How do you play football? And it was a glorious play.
I'll tell you what, tell the viewers and the listeners, if CEH has a touchdown on Sunday, I will wear a CEH jersey in the post-game show. I will do it.
Oh, okay.
I'll pull it out of the bag.
Good. Well, have it on the ready. Have it on the ready. I think he's going to get one.
I hope so. Oh,
yeah.
My fantasy teams need it. So going into this week, so the big news of the week, obviously, coming off a win, and a lot of people still are giving Chargers the credit for having the better game, even though they said the Chiefs can't win dirty. We did. It was slugfest. We won that game, but forget about that. Big story of the week though was Willie Gay Jr. So Willie Gay Jr. Suspended for 4 games for violating the NFL conduct policy from a January arrest for misdemeanor property damage. Which a lot of people didn't think it was a big deal. I think he damaged the vacuum cleaner, but maybe it's more than that. But 4 games, he's not appealing it. So the 4 games he's going to miss is the Colts, the Buccaneers, the Raiders, and the Bills. So those are the 4 games he's going to miss. Those are some tough games there. So what do you have to say about as far as the impact with the loss of Willie Gay? How big of a loss is that, not having Willie Gay for the next 4 games?
And I mean, that's huge. You're talking about one of your emotional leaders that everybody, they get a lot of energy from him. They thrive off of what he brings to the table defensively. And then you're talking about just the athlete and the player that he is. I mean, he makes plays out there. I mean, he's all over the field. I mean, he's one of the elite linebackers, I would say, in the league, to be honest with you, just with his athletic ability and what he gives to a team. And so that's a significant blow for the Chiefs. We got some guys, Leon Chanel, some guys in here who can come in and play. I mean, but it's not going to be Willie Gay. We understand that. I mean, he's got experience, and there's some things that he does well. He does some things really well at that position. But I know, Bolton and those guys are going to get him. The young guys who's going to come in and take his spot, they're going to get him prepared for sure. I mean, and I want to talk about, man, I just think right now, the suspension, I think it's silly. I do. I just think, how they went about it and giving him the 4 games. I don't know. Seemed a little harsh, especially if it wasn't, I get the whole look. I'm not excusing or validating or justifying anything that he did wrong as far as, the whole scenario and the scene, how it went down. Not at all. I don't condone that whatsoever. Right. And he doesn't condone it. He'll tell you, he said it himself. Like, he made a mistake and it was a wrong thing to do and how to go about it. But I think that, the 4 games in itself, I don't know. I don't know how to quite feel about that. I think he showed some remorseful feelings. I think he was very remorseful. I think showed some contrition about the whole situation. So I think a guy that comes in immediately was apologetic, was something that they could have looked at him and said, you know what, this guy right here gets it. He understood what he did was wrong. Even though when he didn't put his hands on someone and put in the situation, it was a little bit, volatile. 4 games, I don't know. It's the NFL though, man. You can go back and forth with this argument on saying, was it warranted to give him the 4 games or not? Mm-hmm. I don't know. So I just think I felt like bringing it up because I think it needed to at least be said, saying, there's things that has been done in the league, you guys have done that might have gotten less time, or it's not equivalent to the punishment. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, you also look at as an example, which I've seen people bring up in regards to this Willie Gay situation is, Mike Evans, this is not his first time getting into a fight on the field, and he's only getting 1 game for that, whereas, misdemeanor property damage that happened almost a year ago, 4 games for that. I mean, I don't know. It's not.
Right. Yeah. Oh, look. And there's guys, look, I was talking to guys this weekend talking about Mike Evans. Why should he be suspended? They thought it was silly, him getting suspended for 1 game. I'm thinking that's part of the integrity of the game too, right? Sure. It might have warranted having more than just 1 suspension. I mean, because you disrupting the entire thing, and it's happened more than once. Yeah. So I don't know. How do you justify these things, and who's the making the decision fully at the end? I know it's Goodell for doing it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is so far with this, Andy Reid said that the guy who's going to get the first dibs at this job is going to be Darius Harris, 3rd-year linebacker out of Middle Tennessee. So yeah. He's been around the block a little bit for 3 years now. He's been with us for pretty much the entire time. So he's going to get his chance to be in the spotlight. No more Ben Neiman. It's Darius Harris time.
And look, and he's an athletic guy. I like a lot what he does too. So he's definitely capable of coming in and being in that position. And I think he'll do a really good job. Like you said, he's got some experience on him. And so wouldn't necessarily have to be necessarily all young with Chanel. But hey, Harris is going to come in. I think he's going to play really well. And so, especially, this week, man, you got, that monster in the backfield who really hadn't really shown too much this past year, but he's waiting for a breakout game. And so this game right here, we should try to get back on track. What better way to do it than with the Chiefs, right? This will get them right where they need to be, get people off their back with all the negative stuff they're talking about them, so it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, and also I think they talked to Leo Chenal this week about going against his former teammate and Jonathan Taylor. He said we didn't really get to tackle him a lot in practice because he was so good that no one could really tackle him or bring him down. So he'll get a shot this week.
Right. Well, that's why I was like, the Leo need to be in it, to make sure he stuffs it. Like he's used to. Okay, wait a minute. I know how this guy runs. I know what he's all about. So
perfect guy in there for scouting report right there, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we talked about Indianapolis. Okay, so we're going to get to the prediction. So the Chiefs are currently a 6.5-point favorite on the road against the winless Indianapolis Colts, who are 0-1-1 on the season. Not 2 losses. We got a tie in there, so it's not that bad. But Mahomes also undefeated in domes. He's 7-0 going into this game. His stats pretty wild. I'm going to just say him real fast. So 7-0 going into this 8th game. He's got 2,395 yards passing in domes, 20 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in domes, a 65% completion percentage, and then 29 carries for 198 yards in 7 games in the dome. So, I mean, Mahomes loves playing in the dome. And I think going back to college, I think he was like undefeated in domes. I think he only played in 1 game, but he had like 600 yards passing and 6 touchdowns in the dome. So he loves playing in domes.
Dude, listen, hold on. Patrick Mahomes loves playing anywhere. No matter if it's a dome, on the moon, the Joker's going to do well wherever he goes. Okay. And it kind of goes into like some of the things I've been talking about. It's like all this silliness going out here on Twitter about how good this man is and not giving him his due. Yes. So look, we got the most elite quarterback in the NFL. All right. You can try to argue that all these other guys, but Patrick Mahomes is that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. There's not even a question about it. So everybody else can come on these little talk shows and say whatever they need to say and, you know, have their little sound bites and all, you know, listen, forget that mess, man. We already know who PM15 is. Okay. We know what he can do. They've seen it for the past 4 years, do what he can do. And so wherever that man plays, he's going to do well. All right. So I have no doubt, not even a question. If it's a dome in the parking lot, if he's playing in the back of a pickup truck, you know what I mean? The Joker's going to do well. So, yeah, I get it, though, with the dome thing. I got it. Hey, keep the stats rolling. Keep them rolling.
I think it's the fact that he's undefeated in the dome is just the crazy thing so far. You know, he doesn't play in domes every so often. So, well, actually, two games a year with the SoFi and the Allegiant Stadium now. But so 6.5-point favorite, Indianapolis. What is your prediction on that game, and what's the score you got for that one? And what are the keys to victory you think for us?
So I'm gonna start with the keys to victory. Is without a doubt, you got to start Jonathan Taylor. You got to stop him. I mean, that's what you have to do. And so if you bottle him up, then it's going to be an easier task to do. And then Matty Ice. You know, Matty Ice is out there. You know, of course, you know he's not the Matty Ice of old, but he's still an effective quarterback. He's still a good quarterback, and you know he can still sling the ball with the best of them. And so that's another one. You just got to get some pressure on that guy, get him moving around a little bit, disrupt his timing as much as you can, you know, with the pass rush, and hopefully, you know, bog him down from throwing to some of those receivers, and Pittman and those guys out there, man. So they got some talented receivers out there too. That's the thing about it. So Indianapolis Colts is not a slouch by no means. And then we talk about the defense. The defense is really good. And so they hadn't really showed it. Same thing. And showed it. You ain't showed against Jacksonville. And you think Jacksonville is supposed to be the pushover, right?
Yeah.
And so if you sit over there, man, the Chiefs need to be licking their chops, you know, especially this week. So we're gonna see. Let's not get overconfident, but just play our game. We play our game. Just go out there and just ball. Just ball out. It's gonna be fine. So it's gonna be a good challenge. Indianapolis is a good place to go play. But I think right now, just kind of prediction of the game after the keys of victory. I'm looking at. I'm gonna go 35-21.
Dang. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You guys covering the spread?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The two things I saw. So one, looking at the history of the Chiefs and Colts, just in general, the Colts are 17-10 against the Chiefs in history. Obviously, you know, and I saw someone on Twitter. I think it was what's his name, Nick Aiton, say history does matter, especially when it comes to the Colts. But also, another thing I saw is people think that possibly, you know, we're looking ahead, or we may be looking down on this opponent because we play the Bucs in Tampa Bay next week, a little Super Bowl rematch next week. Is that something is that a real thing? Do players, I mean, do teams usually do teams ever do that where they say, oh man, they're going to be looking ahead and they're going to not prepare us as hard for this week? I mean, I think it's a ridiculous thing. I hate when people say that they're looking ahead. They're going to not focus this week. It's like, come on.
No, look, man, guys are professional, and you have the best coach in the NFL to make sure the guys are ready and up to the task. Make sure the guys are focused on what they need to do. And so it's not about looking ahead. It's shoot, you're only 2 games in. And so every game is significant in the NFL, especially playing football. Shoot, and the thing is, if you're thinking about the team ahead, that's the team that gets you when you're thinking about these other games ahead of you, if you're doing that. And so it don't really work out well when guys, at least have that mentality, and really guys really don't, So you just gotta think. Now, obviously, if it's late on in the season and you're sitting guys and it's like, okay, this right here is, we don't really need this victory, or, we don't need guys getting hurt for this because we are going to be in the playoffs and things. That makes sense. But right now, regular season, hey, man, every single game is there for the progression to help you get better. And so, especially last week against the Chargers, the offense didn't look as good as they usually did. And so that was one of the things that you're saying, okay, what did we do not or correct in this next game? Let's make sure that we're following on all cylinders, right? And so the same thing defensively. Defensively, they're going to be challenged with some wide receivers. They're going to be challenged with the running back. It's going to be challenged with a good quarterback. And so this is a good test for them. It's a good test for them. It's not like in the NFL, like I said, they're not pushovers. There's nobody in the NFL that is a pushover. Yeah. Every Sunday, somebody could beat somebody else. It's just how it works. Everybody gets paid, man. Everybody gets paid. So you got to be ready.
And a team that's winless is usually amongst the hungriest in the league, a team that's winless. So
yes, especially them too.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting one. But all right, fellas. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns, presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys on Sunday after the Colts and Chiefs game, and can't wait to see you then. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.